Welcome back. So, October 23rd, wow, it was a tale of two very different stories in the crypto market. You had the market leader, Bitcoin, just knocking on the door of this huge milestone. But at the same time, two other major coins were heading in completely opposite directions. So what was going on? What drove this split? And what's it telling us about where the market is right now? Let's get into it and break it all down. But, before we dive into the crypto specifics, let's zoom out for a second. It gets you thinking, right? The stock market had a really strong day today, and that brings up a huge question. When you see that kind of optimism in traditional markets, how does that spill over into your crypto portfolio? Well, today's price action is a perfect example of just that. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll look at the bigger economic picture that set the whole stage. Then we'll zoom right in on Bitcoin's major test at a really critical price level. After that, we're going to get into the fascinating story of Ethereum versus Solana, total opposites today. And then we'll wrap it all up with the key takeaways you're going to want to remember. All right, first things first, let's set the economic stage. Look, the crypto market doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? It's totally connected to what's happening in the wider economy. And today, man, those connections were impossible to ignore. The general vibe in the markets was pretty much all green today. We saw US stocks open strong, and even gold was bouncing back. Now, what this does is it creates what they call a risk-on environment. It just means investors are feeling a little more confident, a little more bold, and they're more willing to put money into things that have higher risk, but also higher reward. And that's crypto's music right there. Okay, so with this positive energy in the air, what happens next? Well, naturally, all eyes turn to the big one, the leader of the pack, Bitcoin. It was time for its big test. How is the bellwether of the entire crypto space going to react to these favorable conditions? And what was that big test? It all came down to this one single number, $110,000. Now, this wasn't just some random price point. Oh no. This is a massive psychological and technical barrier. It's like a line in the sand. And Bitcoin spent pretty much the entire day just hammering away at it, trying to break through. You'll hear traders call this kind of action the bulls testing the waters. And honestly, a better way to think about it is like a battering ram, hitting a castle gate over and over. The more they push, the more they show their strength. And the technical charts? They were hinting that the bulls really had the upper hand here, with a really strong shot at finally breaking that gate down. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. While Bitcoin was busy trying to smash through that ceiling, the rest of the market was not just following along in a straight line. And that brings us to this incredible narrative of divergence, the completely different roads that Ethereum and Solana decided to take. So on one hand, you had Ethereum, and its day was, well, kinda quiet. It was in what you'd call a holding pattern, just consolidating. It was trading back and forth inside this really predictable range. For traders, that makes the strategy pretty simple. You just buy when it dips towards the bottom of that range and hold on. It was a day of calm for crypto's number two, but that calm was definitely not universal. And then you've got Solana, which was anything but calm. While Ethereum was just treading water, Solana was staging this incredibly dramatic V-shaped recovery. Seriously, picture stretching a rubber band as far as it can go and then just letting it snap back. That was Solana today. It just shot back up with incredible force, wiping out all its recent losses and signaling this massive surge in buyer confidence. And listen, this wasn't just some pretty pattern on a chart. This had real-world consequences. For traders who were following the strategy laid out just the night before, this violent snapback meant cold, hard cash. It translated directly into a pretty significant 5 to 6 point profit. It was an absolutely standout performance that made Solana one of the biggest stories of the day for sure. Whew. So, after all that action up and down and sideways, what do we actually take away from today? Let's boil it all down to the 3 things you absolutely need to walk away with. First, the macro environment is king. Today was a crystal clear reminder that what happens in the broader economy really does set the stage for crypto. Second, Solana totally stole the show. That powerful V-shaped recovery was, without a doubt, the most profitable and exciting story of the day. And third, not all cryptos move together. The huge difference between Ethereum's sleepy, stable day and Solana's wild rally shows that this idea of market divergence is a massive theme to keep your eye on right now. And all of that leaves us with one final question to chew on.
When you see a market moving like this, where the big dogs and the up-and-coming challengers are on such different paths, it really makes you wonder, where are the real opportunities hiding? Is it with the steady, powerful leader, or is it with the volatile, explosive challenger? Something to think about as we watch what happens next. Thanks for tuning in.